Beautiful. I know, that looked amazing.
That's my favorite.
I know, Mish wasn't
Everything
available.
about that session.
For this? Should have brought out.
To model, you mean? Yeah, I know, she needs to be in our concept, but she's actually.
Actually, we don't need her. We need to rub it out.
It's true. Well, I'm kind of obsessed with her husband. Like, I'm like, hot husband alert. I love a hot dad moment.
Yeah.
You didn't pull out your family picture. What?
You still didn't pull out your family picture.
Oh,
Your family picture.
yeah. Here it is.
Oh.
They're bigger now. The baby's much bigger.
It's back. I went to her like little pop-up that she did like a couple years ago, and like my two favorite jackets are from that one. Like I wear them all the time.
Yeah. She's my family.
Real girl way.
Yes.
We are starting.
Starting. Okay, so this is, we're going for Erica. And this is her portfolio.
Who are we?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was like, oh, we're gonna find this.
Okay.
Yeah, napkin.
I like your.
Is it right or old?
I loved that she was so playful. What is Jonathan famous? Yeah, I like the intimacy of that one. I know that's like way off of all the other ones that put in there, but
Is that your one or your dream one?
this is my favorite.
So you definitely have like some through lines, and I see a lot of.
I'm glad you do, because I don't. I just kind of threw some stuff.
Yeah, the tones are very consistent. You love warmth and colors, and that is something to incorporate on purpose, which is great to have. You also have this element of like, it's playful, it's environmental, it's this like joy de vivre, like it's just that aspect of it feeling like a split second, a moment in time, and having all that energy packed into the frame, I feel is very important to you. And so like here and here and here and here, I really feel that like that it's an explosion of emotion in the photos themselves. And then you do also have these elements like it's quieter and more detail oriented, but still some yummy warm tone.
Chill.
In there. And also Hawaii is the perfect place for you.
I chose for Hawaii shoot, but yeah,
On purpose. because
like
you
for my
Hawaii?
portfolio, yeah.
Okay.
But truthfully, like I looked at the inspiration board I put together months ago, and it's all tropical and colorful and stuff that no matter how hard I'm trying, I am not achieving in Illinois. And I think, I don't want to fall victim to. That's why my location is why I am not. But I mean, there's not like flowers really in Illinois. People plant those little, what are they called, that like grow like 2 inches high in their front lawn. There's not even flowers, let alone like plants. So.
Totally. So were you shooting at the Bougainvillea today? And were you loving it, or was it just like?
I liked some of them. I think the light had gone down a little more than like what I choose to shoot it at.
Yeah, so I mean, it was very, there was bright light and then shade. So for you, I would
Have
like,
gone to that, right?
yeah, go to more of the bright light.
But then we do have skin tones when the sun is orange and on their face.
You gotta make a choice, like either it's like, yeah, this is a photo in the sun and it's
But I guess when
orange.
whatever they're doing, it can look
Where are we?
intentional or not.
The
Yeah,
first one's
like-
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like obviously the sun is, and we don't have a direct sunlight photo in this group of imagery, but find some images that you like of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. And also we need to get some water out of your lens or something. And
Yeah, right.
so like you can only pick 15 images and 2 of them have this. We need to get you doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute. We did that today.
Cute. We've seen this family before. I've seen this family before.
Mhm.
They're like a family that.
Oh yeah, they were my
Keeps
first
on
in-home I did
going.
after I did the
Yeah,
online.
yeah,
Yeah, they're always pregnant. We're always
They're
right
always
after them.
pregnant.
They're always
We're
pregnant. Always right after them. I should have known this was coming.
Stop hanging out with them.
Yeah.
That's contagious.
Yes,
You
you
can
can
tell
tell
it's in the water for sure.
I'm glad you're moving.
They have been.
Yeah, this is awesome. And I love the whole, like, it's very central to
Mhm.
your story of family being that it's mom and dad.
Mhm.
And then it's like kids are happening, but they're not the focus. This is cute and I love beautiful the emotion.
Her face.
So I probably would just like have this same thing happening and then we just need dad to touch her hair, pull her hair back so that he has something to do with his hands. And then I also do question like, what is this in the background? Is it a water tower or like?
I don't really know, but it's just like one of the most photographed spots in Peoria because
Okay.
yeah, it's ugly.
So that, I mean, it's just like, it doesn't fit.
There's one part of it where the ivy grows up and like
That's
it changed colors really pretty at the beginning of fall, so that's why we went
Yeah.
there. But
Uh-huh.
it just wasn't the right time of day.
Yeah. So if you want to be like, maybe you're shooting more before you move, maybe you're not, but like,
I've done with fam. I have 2 more weddings, but I'm done with family.
yeah, but just like anytime that you're shooting in a place where you're like, I'm not that inspired by whatever is here, like, I always look for either a clean backdrop, and sometimes that's just grass if I don't have anything else, or sky if I don't have anything else, or a white wall that I pull them off of and play studio. Or I think like, how can I get the same vibe even though I don't live there? So flowers, you can bring flowers to shoots and put them in front of your lens, and I do all that kind of stuff all the time. Or even like the family tonight, their yard was just like very manicured, and so I had the little girl get in the yellow flowers for a minute
Right.
to get a sense of like that
Nice.
wildness and wonder and that type of thing that's important to me. So once you know what you're looking for, you'll like spot it, but when you're going to a place because that's where like people go, you're not as likely to find it. But trust yourself is what I'm saying. Same family, cute. So I would probably go here by this ivy
Yeah.
as opposed to this, because then they're competing with that. I would for sure Photoshop that out, whatever that is,
Okay.
black hole.
Okay.
Just kidding,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but like that's
They're
super cute.
There's more 45 backlight.
Yeah, you're going for the light over the background, I get that. I also, knowing that, you can just come over here perhaps, and shoot just like a little bit.
Yeah.
More that way and still get the light that you want. This is glorious.
I love that.
And then your little baby that's like.
That was newborn session take 2 because she screamed the whole first time.
That's precious though. Yeah, that is super precious. And anybody who tells me they can't handle a mom in jeans, come on, that's gorgeous.
I was genuinely bummed about what she wore. So
You were?
yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
You made
people
it
are
work.
like anti-moms
It
in
would've.
jeans, and I was like, I think I have a lot of my favorite photos when moms were wearing jeans. But
I don't like
I
the
get
colors
it.
pink and maroon in clothes. I hate both.
oh,
For
really hope-
photographing.
I really hope we don't have any. But see, it looks gorgeous right there.
It's the skin tone of babies.
It's like the same as babies, so it's just.
I should refine more what I said. Yeah.
Got it.
And then when moms are wearing that
Yeah.
and they're holding the baby, it's like
Mhm.
baby
Yeah.
shirt, it's all.
Yes, it's too monochrome.
So like the little girl's dress today, that was great, but like I don't like
Got it. Okay. Alright, cool.
Well, it's beautiful and
Yes, so.
Thanks.
I love it. I love that photo.
Yeah, so this is so pretty, and I would do this, and then I would also have the baby turn in towards her, because
Okay.
there is an element of like, the baby is like a little bit, see stuff like, what am I doing? Why am I here? What's happening?
I see the
to me?
light.
Am I safe and secure? But I get that you want like baby to be the focus too.
Yeah.
And so I would do this and then do that and see
Okay.
which one
Yeah.
gives you. This is the other thing, is that I'm always going on feeling only, like it's like, what gives me the feeling? I don't care whose face is in it, or
Yeah.
whose toes are in it, or whose what is in what, it's just all about feels, so. That's super sweet, pretty mama. I would have brother have her hold him, as opposed to him running up to give her a kiss on the cheek. Because it looks like he's here and he's about to go away. And just compositionally, there's just a lot of head here when he's coming up to her like that. And so if she's gonna hold him like a baby, that would be a lot more successful. Now, if he doesn't wanna do that, and there's like no chance, then you can still like let mom stay exactly where she is, and tell brother like, okay, on the count of 3, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna do it, and you're gonna count to 10. So I did that with one of the little girls today, having them count to 10, count to 10 while you smell her head, 1, 2.
Okay.
And then if they're
You
just
have them
counting.
count to 10 or you?
Yeah, the
count
kids
to 10?
count to 10.
Okay.
You know, they count to 10. Yeah, I did that today.
Okay.
Another gold star for you.
I've got 2 gold stars.
Yeah, this is so pretty.
I love that.
So pretty.
Yeah, I
It
would do
is
that
so
down low
beautiful.
and put them into the sky. It's really nice.
If I was going to nitpick, if I was gonna nitpick. Our eyes always go to the points of highest contrast. So it's going to their clothes, and then it's going to the island and the horizon.
Yeah.
So if this were my photo and I was taking this photo, I probably would get down lower so that you have just the sky. But if you want to fight me on that, I'm open. That's beautiful. Yeah, I like, it's definitely a feeling, and like, you have that element back here of like, it's a moment in time, he looks like he's about to start running, so for you.
This poor mom, as soon as we got here, he got in the river and it was like 40 degrees. and raining.
Nice.
She was a trooper.
Yeah. So for you, Erica, I feel like the challenge is going to be sticking to that aspect of like there needs to be motion or emotion or intention behind every setup that you do, because that's what's in your dream portfolio versus like your photos are really good and they are like, you know how to pose and compose and like you can do it, but it's time to hold yourself to a little bit tighter of a bound and say like, okay, I'm only taking the photo or I'm only setting up the photo if it feels like that.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, and you just wiggle until it does. This is great, so great. Oh, look at all those laughing, and then he's looking at them, they're laughing at each other. Oh my gosh. So the only tweaks that I would make would be to
Close the gap.
Head
gap.
Yes,
The gap.
and I'd probably put her on the other side for her hair,
Okay.
because if you see, I mean, when a mom laughs and she doesn't have her hair
Right.
to break up the face, it becomes a lot of neck and
Yeah.
jowls
Yeah.
and chin. And like she does not have a double chin at all, but it sort of gives the illusion of that because she doesn't have her hair and she's also leaning back. So if we close that head gap and she's sort of and bonus points if we get her leaning forward, then we're not gonna have that anymore. It's gonna take a minute to load maybe. Really pretty. I'm assuming that she just smiled at you and you didn't necessarily want her to. So if that happens and you say, oh, that's perfect, take 2 more steps, look back at me again, soft face. Oh yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah.
There you are. So these are like the tones that I feel like you really want, and
This was just the perfect session, the perfect house. It's like the biggest
Aw,
farm in Central
yay.
Illinois.
Yay.
But
Why
there's
don't we
not
have
many
more
of them.
pictures from this session.
Yeah.
Do we? Is this from that session?
Yeah.
too? Okay, great.
I
Good
love
having a
that.
preview. Yep, and so this one too, I would probably have her shoot her hair. But that's my only.
Have her what?
Shoot her hair.
Oh.
Shoof the hair, so we get an eyeball, a profile. That's gorgeous and glorious. Nothing can be said that's stunning. Well, okay, something can be said because I'm obnoxious. Maybe after I take this shot, maybe you wanna have mom smelling in, so you get like the hint of mom's profile. That would just be like. But it's so great, it's so good. That's fun. So,
You got the water.
yeah. No, now you haven't been on the lens.
Right. No, he did. The middle child got in and splashed. Real good.
Perfect. So for this type of setup, I would just consider the background a little bit more.
Okay.
I hardly ever do a shot like this in a yard without it being like a very pulled back and fully straight line environmental. Just because then we have the windows and all the lines and everything here competing. Whereas if we were either really pulled back, then we can have like, okay, it's all of them playing. Or if you want it to be, okay, he's playing in the water, then it's about that. But for me, this as like a mom and kids moment isn't as strong because we have other things competing in the background. Ooh, fun.
So I've never had this happen and I was very thankful to get these shots. They showed up and she said, yeah, my husband's just gonna come at the end for full family shots. And I was like, is there any way you can get him here sooner? But he didn't come until sun was set and the kids were done, but thankfully these games and the sneak attacks got them going.
Good.
It should not have worked out this way.
Yeah. So when you have that kind of like time constraint and everything like that, don't be afraid to spend more time getting this set up, and then you're like, we got 3 amazing shots, and that's it,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Cause those types of situations are when we all start panic shooting,
Uh-huh.
right? We're like, and we just take way too many photos and you're like, well, none of them are good, so
Right.
there goes that.
Yeah.
This is great.
Just close the gap.
Close the head gap. And then maybe have him, or is it just a girl back here?
It's boy.
Boy, jump on dad's back.
Yeah.
So as this is happening, jump on dad's back, and you're just like ramping up the energy as much as you possibly can to get that to happen. So pretty, so sweet. This whole, like, your eye moves around it so beautifully, and like this energy of like looks like it's about to fly away. It's so pretty. The one thing I would say is that her body is closest to the camera right now as opposed to her face.
Not flattering.
And we just are losing it in the kiss. And so there are certain moments where it's like, we're not gonna flatter, it's just all about the motion and the emotion that really contributes to it. But when you're doing that, you just have to be careful that you're not getting, I find that works better with a pulled back shot of like, I'm not worrying about flattering nobody, I'm just like, we're running and we're doing whatever. So for this type of thing where you just really want the motion and the emotion of them kissing, still have them come forward towards you to do it. And then it's like, wowza. There are photos that I've seen of yours and I'm like, where are they? Why aren't they in your portfolio?
Yeah, I put this together really late at night, right before I left.
Okay.
So like some of the ones you tweaked, like him jumping on the shoulders, like I did have that shot and I meant to put that one in, but that kind of speaks to I need to cool a little better.
Sure, yeah, and I do find that a lot of us don't always have the best sense of like pulling the great from the just good. And so that is just something to be aware of. Also, I recommend having just a running folder of your portfolio where you just put like your favorites from every session, and maybe you don't add from every session,
Right.
but maybe there's a session where you add 5 or 10 or whatever, but just keep that running because you never know when you might just need a selection of your favorite images for a
My
future.
website could deal with getting updated on it.
Sure, yeah, whatever it is, whatever it might be. Yeah, it's always good practice. Okay, do we have thought about a project?
I do, but I would like some direction on narrowing it down to something more specific. So
Yes.
I feel like this is kind of like duh, but also like it's exactly the direction I want to go. And I called it Island Families. And like when we talked about moving, I'm like, yeah, there's like so many tourists that want family photos, but no, I want to focus on people who live there. That's their home. They have the special spots that might not be the touristy spots. And then just focusing more on that light and color because it's not something I've gotten to use as much as I want to.
Cool. I love it. Island Families where?
Their favorite spot. on
Their
the
favorite spot on the island. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
just
not,
because I mean, we're
that's not necessarily a
familiar with
touristy
any
spot.
of them. Yeah.
Okay, so I think an easy way to go would be like sort of a tour of Oahu through the eyes of the island families,
Okay.
and that sort of the exchange is you give them photos and they show you like their favorite spots.
And I'm hoping to kind of make some connections.
That's cool. That's
really
great. I love that.
Do you feel good
I
about
think it's too broad.
No,
Okay.
because the story is you're new there. As long as you have a story for your project that makes sense, and we're all like, oh yeah, it makes sense. Like it's a tour of Oahu through
Okay.
the island families. And so for your sharing, the way that you share, the images and the project
Mhm.
should be very focused on like the story of the place that they're
Yes.
sharing with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, obviously, it's your story of family all
Mm-hmm.
woven in, but the thing that makes it interesting as a project and makes it cohesive is like each place holds a different story and a different meaning for each family.
Mhm.
So how many shoots do you feel like you want to do in January, this newly pregnant and like the children, but you're in the new.
I don't know. I'm going from a lot of work to no work, so I feel like
Okay,
it'll be okay to
yeah,
do more, but I don't wanna just get like burnt out either. I wanna be intentional.
yeah,
Somewhere between 5 and 10.
okay.
Is
Okay,
that too many?
how are you going to plan and make these connections is my first question, and then my second thing is,
A
you
little
know,
bit of Instagram, a little bit of reaching out to, and then like
love
the
it.
friends of,
yes,
you know, the friends that we
Exactly.
already have there.
yes, so
We
I
know a
think
lot of
that
people.
if
They're
you
cool
get,
teachers.
cool, yeah, I think if you get 2 or 3 set up,
Mhm.
and then you do
And
their
then blossom
photos,
from there.
or you can, even before you do their photos, you can ask and see like, hey, I'm doing this project. People love to share and they love to help. They're gonna be excited to share their favorite spot, to get photos,
Mhm.
and to help you and refer this to other people, especially because it's free photos.
Right.
So I would just get,
Start with 5.
yeah, so get like maybe 2 lined up. Your friend, your new friend if you want, or like 1 more friend.
Mhm.
Make sure that they text you send you pictures of
Outfits.
either the place or the outfit or the people, or just like some element, so that you're not just showing up
Right.
to not knowing what it's gonna be, that you have some element of like creative attraction and inspiration.
Okay.
Because again, this is not for anybody but you.
Right.
So, yeah, but I would definitely recommend really sharing
Mhm.
a lot about the story and creating a hashtag and
Okay.
sharing about when you're going to share,
Mhm.
you know, like maybe you do it all after they're all done and you share it in a series, or maybe you want to share it as you're going. But it needs to be something, and this for all your projects, it's best if it can be something that all your people can follow along with and be excited to be like,
Yeah.
ooh, what's the story of this place
Right.
and this family? And like, I want to move to Oahu, like I want to be there, like that whole aspect of them feeling like they're involved in it. Overshare.
Okay.
Yeah, so even like sharing the original idea for the project, you can even just put out a call like, hey, does anybody know anyone? And if you know somebody who'd be interested in participating in the project, have them message me. Maybe you get people from that, maybe you don't, but you get people who are interested in your artistic success in your project.
Hopefully make friends that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And either way, you should be like, hey, I'm moving to Oahu, who do you know? Like, I want to make some friends, I want to meet some people, I'm super excited. Like, it really doesn't take more than that. Just open heart.
Yeah.
And people flock to that. Feel good?
I feel good.
Yay! Yeah. I'm so excited to see what you all create from your projects. All right, Liz, can we do you?
Sure.
How's your neck doing? Is this a
It
good position
hurts.
for your neck?
I think it's a good position, yeah, but it is a little sore. It feels better than it did this morning.
Although I'm kind of getting sick of it, I don't know why now. No response.
Yeah, go for it.
That's a no.
I just had coffee cakes.
Who's getting sick of it?
This is, the dream.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of black and white in here, which surprised me so much.
Yeah. And I don't think it necessarily, there's always a lot
Yeah.
of black and white in my dream portfolios too, but I don't think it necessarily means you have to shoot black and white. It's just about the vibe
Yeah.
and the feeling. Mhm. Yeah, so definitely the through lines that I see here are like an aspect of artistry and something unexpected is very important to you. And also, like, I'm gonna call it creepy gorgeous. And this like, it's a sort of, it's like a little bit confrontational or challenging in a very, but in a, but with beauty, like I'm gonna ask you to think about this, but in a beautiful context. And I feel like that is important to you through all these elements. And
The confrontational thing is interesting, yeah.
does that have roots for you, Liz?
I don't know. No, it is really interesting. It's sort of like, I mean, I feel like they remind me, the photos often remind me of like your memory of family photos or
Yeah.
what you think of in your mind when you look at an old photo.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
that's what sort of I'm feeling, like that's the feeling I want to get, right?
Yeah, like a memory.
A memory, and that it's a little bit, it feels a little undone or a
Easy.
little bit raw.
Mhm.
But I also do want to make them, like I want them to be gorgeous, which is sort of what I want to work on. The gorgeous part too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and maybe you have just more of like one part of that equation that comes more naturally to you than the other. Like I kind of don't think you're gonna struggle with the making things not typical, you know. Is this your daughter?
that's my daughter, yeah. I spent a lot of time just photographing my daughter because I was just with my daughter, so
Yeah, yeah,
that's a lot of.
yeah, this is beautiful. Yeah, yeah. And this definitely has the same vibe, for sure it does. I wonder what this stuff is. Pine needles.
Yeah, it's stuff, it was on a trampoline, so it's just stuff that was on a trampoline.
I thought it was like concrete.
I could probably get it off of there.
Oh, I just want more or less,
More
more
or
or
less.
none.
Yeah.
Like, it's a few, and so it's just like, what is it? And I'm distracted by it, but if it was like a lot, I'd be like, oh, I'm into this, it's intentional. Yeah. She's so beautiful. I sort of want this just like straight on with a clean background. And this to me, I'm like, what is happening? Because this just doesn't feel like anything that we saw in your dream portfolio. Like these feel like they relate, but this I'm just like,
That isn't, yeah, totally. And no, and that was a little mini session that I did.
okay.
And I think the thing that I struggle with the most is like the family groups.
Okay.
Like I kind of don't know what to do with them, and it's like a lot of people, and if like the dream portfolio all has just a few people, it's like maximum 3 people, and that's all I can. It's weird, it's like all I can visualize, and so I do want to work on ways that I could incorporate more people. I honestly, I don't know how, like it gets really overwhelming to me.
Yeah, so there's an aspect to this that is like a personality and a preference thing. And then there's an aspect to it that's like, okay, here's a professional thing. And so at some point, I do think it is wise to make a choice of like, I photograph families of 3, or like, yes, I want to be able to photograph bigger families. But I want to give you permission to do either one that feels good. Like if you're like, listen,
Right.
I only want to photograph small families.
Yeah.
That would be an amazing niche
That
to
would be
cover.
okay. Yeah.
Yes, it would be way more than okay. There's families of 3 that are like looking at photographers that show these big families and are like, that's not what my family's gonna look like. What will my family photos look like? So if you just like the idea of you're overwhelmed by bigger families and you're like, I shoot photos of families of 3 or less, then people who are in that same, like, not only just they fit that criteria, but they also resonate with that energy wise, that they want that, like, I think you crave space, and like I feel the space in your dream portfolio, like it's almost ghostly or otherworldly or memory, like all that type of stuff, that haze and everything. I do think it lends itself better to less people. So it would be great to try that out for a project first and see how you feel. So just putting that
That's
out there.
cool. Yeah.
As
No, I like
we
that.
go
That's
through.
cool.
Yeah. I feel like this is more of the feeling that I.
Yeah. Yeah, I put some photos in here that I don't really like as well because
Well, why'd you do that, Liz?
Well, because I'm trying these things out and
Okay.
I'm like, why isn't this working?
Okay.
You know, like I'm like, this didn't work, and I kind of want to know why. So I think that's helpful. But yeah, it's weird because I did a couple different portfolios, and one was like, I really like all these, but then I don't know how like beneficial that feedback would be. And then I was like, because I think it is beneficial to like hear, like, hey, this just didn't work at all.
So which camp did you feel like this one?
I like that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree. And I think it would be fun to see you take it a step further and shoot it like with flash or Polaroid, or like something like you had that one in your dream portfolio where she's wearing a red dress and she has that green plant in front of her face, but it's like bright
flashy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and that might be like version 2 for me.
totally.
Like that might be what I get to, you know.
Yeah.
But like kind of like funk it up.
Yeah.
Figure out a way to funk it up even more.
Yeah. Put that on a bumper sticker.
Figure out
like
Bunk it up.
See that 10 times.
No.
This is gonna go so.
That would sound.
This is beautiful. All I wanna do is close the head gaps.
Yes.
And then I'm like, I feel like this mom is your vibe, and I like that. Like her bangs are giving me life. So I also, were these apples just like there, or were they part of the concept, or
They brought them. Yeah.
as
they brought
like
them.
to shoot or to eat?
They're eating them. And she wanted, well, actually, she had brought a pomegranate to shoot, but yeah, they were just eating them. It's true.
Okay, okay. So I do feel like the reason I'm asking that is because I feel like it is more of an in-between moment that I probably wouldn't be photographing them like all together in this way. I might be doing like more of a close-up of somebody eating the apple or something like that. But it doesn't feel like
It doesn't feel like a
it's
moment.
just not quite there.
Yeah.
For that reason. And this one to me is sort of the same scenario of like,
Yeah, I
what are we
didn't
doing
like
and
that
why
one.
are we here? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, for me, I'm just questioning why you would be photographing in this. Is this cement or?
No, it's a rug.
blanket?
Yeah, it's a rug. So I did some mini sessions and they all came and said the same thing. So it was like a rug put down and there were flowers and stuff. So
Okay,
yeah, and some of it worked. I think like the close-ups kind of worked better
Yeah.
than, these
Mhm.
groupings.
mhm.
So,
flowers was from the same.
and the flowers are from the same, so I had flowers,
okay.
and, yeah.
Cool.
And so I just kind of did, it was
Yeah.
probably 5, I think it was like 5 different families.
Mm-hmm.
To try to get the feel of like setting
Yeah.
them up in poses and stuff, but yeah, the groups from those just they didn't do anything, like most of them, in fact, most of when I like pose a family, it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see the ones from today too, and just kind of see, and kind of seeing how everybody's doing it. So, or it's like maybe I need fewer people, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think playing with fewer people would be really fun, because for me, I feel like you could have done something really cool with and you probably have other images from those minis that you really like, with like the cool rug setup and the flowers and whatever
Totally.
you were liking from that. But for me, it's like, you're not using any of that setup here,
No.
and it just becomes like, we're in the trees like a normal photo shoot. And anything that feels normal, I think Liz needs to run in the other direction. So anytime that you look at something, you're like, this is so typical, run away.
Right, okay.
Even if it's beautiful, even if it's pretty, like,
Yeah,
you can't really like pick this apart too much. I can tell you I want to see mom's face and I want her to be smiling more. But I feel like it's tweaking something that is just not what you want to be creating anyway.
Totally.
So it's like, let's not. This is super sweet. And in somebody else's portfolio, I'd probably be like, I love this so much, it's beautiful. But for you, I'm like, no, put it in the trash.
Right.
We need to be doing weird experimental,
Yeah.
like avant-garde
Yeah.
stuff.
No, and this I like more. I think I like, this was just a mom, and her kid, and I did like that more. I kind of felt like it had a little more of the vibe that I
Yeah.
liked, but it didn't get weird. It wasn't like
Yeah.
weird.
And not that
Anyway.
everything
Yeah.
that you do has to be, but
Yeah.
you should have a portfolio of, 10 to 15 images that are for sure that. So I'm not saying you can't ever, or you shouldn't ever take photos like this, but just that you need to have an awareness always running in the back of your mind of like, how can I push this? And it's like, if you're a fashion designer, you're an avant-garde fashion designer. You're not a ready to wear sportswear type.
Right.
Do you guys watch Project Runway? Oh my gosh. You're not an everyday type of photographer, an everyday type of artist. You have a vision and a sensitivity to that really needs to be expressed. And my fear is that if you keep sort of like towing this line of like, here's the status quo, and I know how to do the status quo, and I can add some flowers and sort of put my own flair on it, that you and all of us will miss out so deeply on like the magic sauce that's only yours to get.
Well, and I think I don't do the stuff the quo very well either. Like,
No, like this is gorgeous.
yeah, but it's occasionally gorgeous. Like, I feel like a lot of times it doesn't work out, and maybe that's just getting used to doing more photography and feeling like, oh my goodness, like I'll get one, decent image out of so many, and like, so I do feel like it's harder for me. Like I don't instinctively get that, and so I'm like making myself go, oh, what would someone else do, right? Or whatever. Or what might she like? Like that's sort of what I'm thinking, like what would she want me to do right now?
Yeah.
So no, and this was an interesting shoot. Like I did like them, and yeah, they were kind of conventional. So no, and that's interesting to think about.
Yeah. And I don't think they are not for you, because like, this is so beautiful, and we have the light coming in, and that's giving us like a little bit more of a something. But like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's so cute. But again, I just feel like if you stay here, you're gonna regret not pushing yourself towards what you really want to be creating. Yeah, same thing here. And we know that we have too much top of head, and we just
Yes,
need to have her
totally.
on top of his head now. How adorable are these two though? So pretty with the light and the chub and her smushing into him. But we do have like a competing background here. Is this a swing set? Cause that's where my eye.
Yeah, it's like a house or something.
This right here.
No, that's a
It's like a
vineyard.
corral.
It's a
Oh, vineyard.
Okay,
Yeah, I see that.
so I would probably just get them completely backlit so I didn't have those things in my background, but.
See, and like this photo I do not like at all. And I'm like, what is wrong? Like, I'm like, this didn't work at all, and I don't know. I just don't know what to do.
It's also a vibe and an energy
Yeah.
mismatch. I can tell just from what they're wearing. That
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah.
how did these people come to you? I mean,
Yeah.
how did these people come to you? They didn't know what they were getting, and
Right.
that's the problem. Like,
Yeah.
and whenever that happens to me, I'm like, oh, it's totally my fault. I'd always take it as my own
Right.
fault, because we have to put out what we want.
Totally.
to
And I
put out.
told her, I was like, oh, they can be shirtless. Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, they don't have to put on their shoes. She's like, they're putting on their shoes. And I was like, okay, that's great. And then I think I was like, oh my God. And I do feel like I got some good photos, but like this one, was so, I had to like set the whole thing up, and then I was like, this is just, none of them looked. I couldn't make it work, but I did get some other ones
Yeah,
that I liked.
yeah, totally.
Um,
So we all have to walk this line, right, between being an artist and being a service provider. And like, I mean, at that point, when they show up wearing that stuff and she's saying, we're putting on our shoes, you're a service provider and you're just gonna take the shots that she wants. Until the last like 2 minutes, when you're like, oh, we got amazing stuff. I would love if we could take off the shoes for just a couple more, just for the end. And then you can see if you can mess it up and undo it just a little bit. And you get whoever you might happen to be inspired by. So maybe that's mom in her dress with the flowers, or maybe it's mom, the littlest boy, or whatever, mom with somebody's hair. I don't care what it is, but just find like that one or two things that you can create a little something for. Because if you just are a service provider, there's no point. You burn out like that. So, okay, we'll move on to the next
Okay,
one. We've
let's
already
move on.
beaten that dead horse. Cuties. Was this sort of the same story where you were like,
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing.
I know, but where you're not sure, like you felt like it was good, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
Going
like this
where
one was
you
a little
wanted
bit
to.
better. Like I like this one a little more, but it was, yeah, I feel like it was pretty challenging. You know, just to try to find something that works.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like they have a beautiful, like it was like they have a beautiful house, it was beautiful out, like I just, yeah, I guess I don't know why I couldn't really find it, but I did feel that pressure, like, and I was telling somebody like, it was like getting away from me, where I felt like I was like doing stuff to do it, and then, you know, I kept playing catch up, where I was like, oh, okay, come over here and do this, oh, okay, come over here and do this. And I wasn't able to think about it really. I wasn't able to like put anything together. And so I think that's the challenge, is like maybe it's more thinking about it beforehand and really knowing what I'm going in to do. Cause that I just was like, oh, I've never been to their house. It's just gonna be this challenge of like showing up somewhere and trying to do something.
Oh, so this wasn't the same mini sessions with?
No, this was
Where
in
did
their
these
house.
flowers come from?
Same,
You brought
it's
them?
same place, yeah. There's like a little farm down the road that I brought flowers.
Oh, okay.
I brought the flowers, but yeah, this was at their house.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay. Okay, so my question is, why are we here with this, like, leaves and bark? Is
Yeah,
it?
totally. But that's because that's where I said, like, I feel like it didn't really work, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it's just a panic
Yeah.
shot at that point.
I was not really knowing what to do.
Yeah. So whenever we feel in those, like we're in those types of situations where you feel like backed into a corner or bullied or like panicked or any of those types of things, I like to just take whatever shred of inspiration and like make a photo like that to remind myself like, okay, I'm in charge. And so I can actively create something that I want, as opposed to just, and really making the shift from chasing the moments to creating the moments. And so anytime that I feel like I'm chasing, I have them stop doing whatever they're doing. So if it's like, Dad's tossing the kid up and he's just like continuing to do it, most of the time it's that they're continuing to do something that they think I want them to do. There's so much power in flexing the muscle to be like, that's amazing, we're gonna move on, and like redirecting them to something else. And then when they do that, and you're like, oh, we survived, we all survived. Like I didn't have to keep shooting the same thing or stay in the same place. We moved on and we all survived. So, but I do think, Liz, that you're in a space where you're needing to figure out a process that works for you, and to really play around with that and figure out like what elements of the process are important to you and what elements of the process can you orchestrate so that they really support you. So maybe it's that you love working in a studio and that the control and like pre-planning of a studio really resonates with you, or maybe it's just that you because I just sense that the idea of like walking into a home with 4 kids and like not knowing what you're gonna get feels really overwhelming and just like off-putting to you. And I just want to give you permission that you don't have to do that or like learn how to do that if you already know, like, yeah, it's off-putting to me and it doesn't interest me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think those pregnancy ones that I write, she often finds a place that she finds really pretty, and she'll have them come there, you know, and I don't know why. I don't know if she tells them to wear white, like all of her photos, like the mom's always wearing white or just like in her underwear. Like, and that's the part that I'm like I'm not there with yet. Like I don't quite know how to do that, where it's like I'm looking at someone's photos and it's like all of your moms are, you know, in white dresses or in their underwear or whatever. And it's like, how is she doing? I guess she's asking them to do that. I don't know. So that's the part where she's really refined what that vision is. And it's not even that it's narrow. It's just like, it comes out that way all the time. And that's the part that I'm not like getting, you know.
Yeah, and it really doesn't have to be complicated. It can just start with your project. What do you want people to, what's important to you for your project? Is what they're wearing important? Do you want to shoot moms in their underwear for your project? And then once you put that out, you start to get that back. Yeah, and it doesn't, maybe it's overnight, maybe it's not, but until you put it out, people have no idea looking at this that you want to shoot moms in their underwear. None of them are looking at this and being like, she's my photographer. You know?
She just said, yeah, being underwear with the pad. I'm like, yeah, that's
So I just feel like you've done,
Real right there.
you've done great with these
Yeah, that's
Uh-huh.
lovely.
for what they were.
Oh, that's
Oh,
lovely.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I see, you know, we have skin and we have like this mom looks like she's your vibe.
Yes, I was thinking that, I'm like, that's.
Then it just seems like it, even though we could say like, okay, well, we're still in the green and the background
Right,
is
right.
maybe more
Yeah.
accepted, it's still a great photo.
That's great.
Yeah. It is great, and the only things that I would change is just like get baby. I need to close this gap, even though it's so tiny.
It's so tiny, yeah.
This head gap, I
Totally.
still want it to be closed.
Mhm.
Because that really creates an anchor for us compositionally too, so that
Mhm.
the eye can travel around the image, as opposed to now it just
stops.
gets stuck there. But that is nitpicky because this is beautiful and
That is beautiful, I love that.
it's great. I also personally just question, I question myself when I'm doing a smiling photo, like, what's the end home of this photo? Because to me, I wouldn't ever probably frame a photo of my family smiling and
Smiling,
laying
yeah.
down on a blanket, and I don't think you particularly wanted to have, your vision wasn't like, I want them
Totally.
smiling up at me.
Yes,
So take this, if they smile at you, they're looking at you, now mom and dad look at each other. And
totally.
that's all that you need to do.
Yeah. No, and I was noticing that today. I think that's something that I learned today, and I was thinking about like the difference between something not working and you not
Yes.
giving it enough to work. And so I feel like sometimes I'll just move on from something even though,
Yeah, you were only.
and when I'm looking
there.
at the photos, I'm like,
takeaway.
totally, I'm like, oh, the next 2 photos are gonna be amazing, and then I didn't take those 2 photos. And I'm like, oh, I should have done, like, I could see where I was going, but I like didn't give myself enough time to get there. So I think that's part of this, is like kind of feeling it out, and I think you're right, I'm like, the photos to me feel very, like I'm experimenting with stuff, and I don't exactly know what I'm gonna get back. So if I go in with a concept, I think that'll really help me more.
Yeah. Yeah, so the biggest thing that I want you to take away, Liz, is to trust yourself. Right now, I feel like you don't trust yourself. You're like, am I allowed to do this? Should I be doing this differently? What would somebody else do in this situation? Just like, so funny and absurd to think about because it's like impossible. So you're trying to mold yourself and make yourself something else or do something that you're just not. And then we need the real Liz, because you're gonna leak out anyway. Like there's no way to
Totally.
hide. So do you have thoughts on a project?
Oh, I mean, I like the families of 3. I mean, I was thinking of focusing kind of more on, you know, on like motherhood, like the, you know, the mother being central and like the center. And the like, I like the pregnancy photos, but I feel like I'm not necessarily there yet.
Why?
I don't know, like, I've never photographed pregnant people, I don't know, it's so hard.
They have something to do with their hands, it's so easy.
But I think that body, that aspect of like body is very interesting, you know, which could be cool, like this, that sort of like, and you know, maybe it's like pregnant moms with a kid, like with 1 kid or something. And just leave the dad out of it, but okay.
Yes, you can do that.
So, but yeah, I don't know exactly what the concept is. I mean, I feel like it's, yeah, it has to do with like being central and maybe a little raw, like a little more, you know, a little more undone.
So if I just was like, hey, I am gonna set up your dream shoot for you in this scenario with a pregnant mom, and one kid. What am I gonna set up for you?
I don't really know, it's either.
What is she wearing? We'll start with that. And where are we? Are we inside or outside?
I feel like it's outside.
It's outside, done. Okay, we're outside. What am I wearing? Pregnant mom.
I guess underwear or something like, you know, so I don't know. Yeah, something where it
love that.
shows like body, like there's body with it, right? And then it could be like an element of, like there's an element of nature or like the natural in it.
Mhm.
And I don't know what that means they're doing, but yeah.
Okay, that's a good enough starting point,
Okay.
and I want you to gather, like, I feel like you know how to pull together a concept, so, we already know it's outside and we're either like underwear or some nudity or half nudity or something going on there. And there's that element of nature is important to you.
Mhm.
So is it like, what kind of location is it? Is it a forest? What is it? Is what you need to figure out. And then, what's your shooting setup such that you're inspired to shoot it? Cause those ones that you loved were black and white.
Mhm.
Are you attracted to the idea of doing it in black and white? Are you wanting to do it in color? Are you wanting to do it with a pop-up flash, Polaroid type of thing?
Mhm.
Are you wanting to do video as well?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe just photo.
Great, it's just photos, done. Is this one shoot? Are we doing more than one shoot?
I feel like I could do 2.
Okay,
I think I could commit to 2.
great, 2 shoots. And since it is like more raw and bare, I think it's gonna be important for you to find women that inspire you, that you want to shoot.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know I'm pregnant, I know, but
Yeah,
but if you don't, yeah,
That's
put it
Instagram.
out on Instagrams and
Yeah, shoot you in your underwear.
yeah.
Shoot you in your underwear with your beautiful
And
belly.
yeah, and you can, if you guys are like, this is so far away from what I'm currently showing and
Mhm.
shooting, don't be afraid to pull together a little inspiration board, a mood board, and share that and be like, this is the inspiration for the shoot.
Mhm.
If you're interested and you're expecting,
Mhm.
and you have one more, a
That's a good
kid
idea.
as well,
Mhm.
send me a message if you know anybody who'd be interested. Tag them here in this post, like, do all those sort of obvious
Mhm.
things, and I think you'll be surprised.
Totally.
at what comes.
Yeah, and I think if it wasn't a pregnant mom and kid, I could think about a small family.
No, it's a
No.
pregnant mom and
Okay,
kid, what are
pregnant
we,
mom and
what,
kid.
no,
I don't know, I'm afraid of that. Okay.
She just changed it, right in the middle of the grocery store.
ran the other way.
Okay.
She crossed it out.
Crossed out
this
I went, no, stop
I
right
know.
now.
It's
Yeah.
like a mini and it's with flowers and a family out of like.
But wait, we're gonna put our shoes on, so we're
Which
watch
shoes
out.
on?
No, if you, kind of got it, no, everybody else is.
I love that. I'm getting my second one.
So I definitely think
Yeah.
you can decide that you wanna build your brand on small families, and like,
Mhm.
that's the niche you wanna be in. I
Mhm.
think that would be so fire, like, nobody's
Mhm.
doing that, and that's so amazing, and it's something that you actually wanna do. But I also think that making that decision at this point, or like trying to do that for a project, is going from 0 to 100. So I think, and I also think that small families as a project is not specific enough.
Right.
So I love this, you're just gonna
Okay.
try out the pregnancy
Mhm.
thing, and it's gonna be part, exposure of like, I've never photographed anyone before, here I go, do this.
That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
But it's also, I feel it.
I love your inspiration.
So easy. Cause you know how to pose women, same principles apply, just as long as they have a neck, guys, that's all we ever need as a woman. You have a neck, you have a nice shoulder line, you're flattered, it's done. So.
I can't wait to see it.
Feel good
Yeah.
for the time being,
Can't
if you feel
wait.
like, Liz, it needs more refinement, we can talk throughout the rest of the
Yeah, I'll
weekend.
think more about it too.
Okay, feeling good for the time being?
Mhm.
Nice, yay. There we go, thank you. Thank you guys for sharing your work and allowing that to be part of what we do. It's just, can't do it without that. All right, we are going to adjourn for tonight. I feel like we should come in for like a go team. Let's do that. We won't end tonight with a dance, unless you guys want that to happen again. I'm always down to dance. We're missing Maggie.
I'm coming.
Get love soaked on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Get love
Feel free to sleep, hot tub, snack, dessert, just veg. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I don't really, I think about it, and that was not what I thought we would come up with.
I'm excited. Yay. I know. Extremely raw. Photography prison. You're like, I have to. Yeah. How do I get better at all this crap I hate? Was like,
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
excited. It's exciting.
Wasn't maybe you can build a conversation about the not getting tired of all those shows. 'Cause you're like,
That's right.
probably.
It's not as hard as you
Right.
think to find people who will take your clothes off for you.
Well,
Especially
see, and I've never done that. Like,
it's-
I'm-
yeah.
Brandon's built on this. How did you get started in that? I totally forgot.
So
You asked one mom, right?
what's that?
You asked one mom.
I asked one mom, yeah, it was a friend at work and she had posted boudoir photos on Facebook and nobody else was posting all that stuff on Facebook back then. And she got pregnant and I thought, okay, this is the person who would let me shoot her birth and be all up in there. I never shot a birth before. I'd never seen a birth other than my own. So I asked her, I said, hey, what do you think about me photographing your birth? And she said, I was gonna ask you to, and I didn't know how, so I'm really glad you asked. And that was it. Yeah. And we're about to do her 3rd in April.
So do you do like intimate maternity stuff, or it's just the birth?
Yeah, I do intimate maternity, intimate motherhood portraits. I had a project on that last year. It's really
To get into
Is there something that we're gonna see? Do you want to?
yes.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time narrowing it down and like getting actual families in there, not just putting all my motherhood stuff in there. Because I would share all of that. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you can be a mother photographer, you guys. All these
I
bounds that we
know,
put on
but
ourselves.
I mean, people don't really pay for that. That's the thing.
They don't pay for what?
Just motherhood photos?
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
do.
Are you kidding?
Not in my area. They want the whole family.
I'm gonna
in
challenge
there.
you on that tomorrow, all day, every day.
Oh.
struggle.